come to the Lord until he got in his elderly age. I'm like, man, you might not even have that much time to live. You know what I'm saying? You better get it right with the Most High while you can, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because we ain't promised tomorrow. What you gonna do with the time you borrow? People got health issues, and they don't know if they're gonna last so much longer. Say, I know some people who rejected the Most High. When the truth came their way, they're gonna have to answer for it all on Judgment Day. Life is short, so you have to use it wisely. Cause when it's over, ain't no let me do it over. A lot of people check it out every day. I hope they got it right with the Father before it got too late. So what you gonna do with the time you borrow? You might want to be praising the Most High right now. The Most High, yeah. In this life, you gotta use it wisely, man. I said, what you gonna do with the time you borrow? Seek the Most High. You ain't got much time. But you got time, man. In this life, yeah. Some people think they gonna live forever. But that's not true. So in this life, what you gonna do? Say, cause when the soul exits the body, it roams for 7 days, then goes into its rest, or hell and torment. Now, so you have to use it wisely. Cause when it's over, ain't no let me do it over. No. A lot of people check it out every day. I hope they got it right with the Father. Before it got too late. So what you gonna do with the time you borrow? What you gonna do from the Most High? In this life, yeah. I said, what you gonna do with the time you borrow? You ain't got much time. In this life, yeah. So my advice to everybody: use your time wisely on this earth. Praise the Most High. Serve the Most High. Seek the Most High. Don't let a day go by without doing this. You ain't got much time. Life is short.
Fringe Stuff Family Fest 2024. Save the date.
Always keep the feast in remembrance, praising our God with a song when we're present. Glorious scars like a chain with a pendant. Spirit of joy I receive, so I'm sending. Spread it to my bros, that's my fam. Rejecting the truth, then you know we can hide. We know what's my circle, the gold and the purple. We act on God's laws, yeah, it's more than just verbal. So just raise your hand, Christ is coming down to save the fam. Remember the days of old, Christ is coming down to save your soul. I know the saints must roll, be patiently waiting though. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, the earth will glow. I said the earth will glow. The earth will glow.
This is a new day. We've come a long way. I was unhappy, but now I'm happy. I know my place and where I stand. I now know who I am and where I need to be. I'm filled with joy, the bloodline of a royal priesthood. 1 Peter 2:9. Who would have believed it? The earth will glow. You can't stop us now. We're taking over, and when Christ returns, it'll be over.
So just
raise your hands. Christ is coming down to save the fam. Remember the days of old. Christ is coming down to save your soul.
I know the saints must roll.
Be patiently waiting though.
Thy kingdom come,
That will be done, the earth will grow. I said the earth will grow. The earth will go.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 31. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Now going back to Psalm. He sent from above. He sent from above. He took me. He took me. This is what the world is afraid of. The deliverance of the Israelites. They're afraid and they need to be afraid. That's right.
Shalom, 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 Israel. This is Yeshua Judah, and this is the Truth Be Told Flex podcast. This is going to be a recording tonight. The number one co-host in the land, Ayob Ben Yahu, he will not be able to make it tomorrow night. And the number one project manager in the land, Banat Shalahaya, she also has engagements tomorrow night, which would be our regular broadcast tonight. So we decided that we were going to pre-record the show and still be able to go live Wednesday at the regular time. So with all that being said, we do have a great show lined out. It's going to be good. Myself, Banat Shalahaya, and Let the Truth Be Told Flex podcast family keep the house of Ben Ayob in prayer. But with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Banat Shalahaya, and she has some announcements for us, and then we'll get the show going.
Okay, so the first announcement is we have played with Ayob's name so much that we started, unfortunately, calling him Ben Ayob, and it's Ayob Ben Yahu. But seriously, keep that entire household in your prayers. No major announcements. Of course, we've been running the F3 Fringed Up event that's coming up in July, first week in July, the 4th of July weekend. There's several different things going on that weekend. Because this is a recording, I'm not going to go into all of the details here, but just know you tune in next week and we'll give you all those highlights of the things that you need to be prepared for and looking forward to. Aside from that, Big Homie Yerp will be on the Truth Be Told Flex podcast, the R&B Hook, hosted by Ayo Benyahu later this month. I believe it's April 27th. On the 27th. So
8 o'clock Eastern.
8 o'clock Eastern. So we'll provide some more insight to that as we get closer to that date. So without further ado, just a couple of announcements I wanted to throw out here. Some things that are hot in the news, but we're just probably not going to have a chance to talk about it. So one of them is the Sports Business Journal is highlighting the Women's Final Four studio panel. And if you watch the Final Four, you know that at the end of the game, there were several journalists on that were broadcasting on, what was it, on ABC, and all of a sudden, as they're in the middle of their talks, they cut the show off. If you wanted to continue watching, you had to go to ESPN to finish it out, but they didn't show it, and they caught a lot of backlash from that. I mean, they didn't tell anybody that. They caught a lot of backlash from that because these women were in the middle of doing their broadcast, and then they shut it down. And there was a lot still going on. They were interviewing some of the players from South Carolina, so there was a lot that happened, and I just firmly believe if another team had won, if the other team had won, they wouldn't have done the same thing. Because if you paid attention to how they advertised who won that game, it was all about the fact that Iowa and Caitlin Clark and what was happening with her as opposed to the Gamecocks winning that game. So, Sports Business Journal highlighting the women's Final Four studio panel to me was like a backhanded apology.
Right.
For those of you who
they always do that,
they do.
I mean, in everything, they'll mess up and call us, a byword.
Correct.
And all they have to do is come back and give an apology. But yeah, go ahead.
Correct. And other sports news, I guess that's pretty much all I have today is a lot of sports stuff. Nate Robinson, for those of you who don't know, is a former NBA player. Can't remember all the teams that he played with. I just know he, for all intents and purposes, was of shorter stature compared to some of his teammates. But keep him in prayer. He's going through dialysis and apparently has been for the last couple of years. He needs a kidney, and in his own words, if he doesn't get one soon, he is probably not going to be around much longer. He's trying to keep a positive outlook on it, but definitely keep his family in prayer. More.
And then what? I could be wrong. And then what? My mic wasn't even on. Ain't that what? Bushwick Bill? Didn't he die from?
Yeah, he needed kidney failure. And quite honestly, what probably happens, and this is just conjecture on my part, speculation, is drinking. Lots and lots and lots of drinking. I imagine when you are in the entertainment industry, you spend a lot of time social drinking and just probably drinking.
And they're not all that big to begin with.
Correct. Correct. And the smaller you are, the smaller your kidneys tend to be. That's why you see some of the bigger guys being able to guzzle it down, where some of your smaller guys, it takes a toll on them. But that's one of the things that Nate Robinson pointed out was that he had to change his diet significantly. Obviously, no alcohol whatsoever, but I could only speculate that may have had something to do with it.
Makes sense.
Moving on to the next little sports topic that I feel like is worth acknowledging. They had the WNBA draft. So shortly after the women's championship game, Caitlin Clark goes first in the draft. Who was surprised about that? They talked about it so much that if she had gone anything else, I think the whole US of A would have shut down on that. Camila Cordoza goes third, and Angel Reese went seventh. And they are, oddly enough, Angel Reese and Camila Cordoza are both playing for the same team.
Right.
They got drafted by the same team.
They have battled against each other since high school. I was listening to Angel Reese talk about that. The first time she played against her was, I forgot the name of the schools that they attended, but they have been going at each other since high school.
Camila?
Yeah, Camilla and Angel.
Oh, she's been going against Caitlin Clark too.
Yeah,
they've
exactly.
had some
that's
rivalry before.
And that's one of the reasons I'll be talking about how the media be creating these narratives that they don't like each other. You know, these girls, these are high level competitors.
Right.
Anybody that compete, exactly. Anybody that compete knows that when you could attest to this. I don't care who it is. If you on the other team, you know what I'm saying? It could be my mama. I'm gonna give you the business. You know what I'm saying? Like for real.
Talk smack.
Yeah,
talk
I'm gonna
Absolutely.
give you the business, you know. And if you are a competitor, that's, you know what I'm saying, that's to be expected. So, but yeah, man. Anything else?
The last thing I wanted to bring up, I did not add him to my presentation that I normally put out there, but I heard something the other day and it blew my mind. So I had to go do a little research. You heard me, your daughter talking about it earlier today. So I had to go do my own little research on it. And let me just share with you
Benjamin Button, dude.
Yeah, definitely a Benjamin Button moment. Let me share with you what I came across. This is absolutely insane to me.
I got goals.
What'd you say? You have goals?
I got goals.
Huh. Hold on. It's not letting me.
I want to give a shout out to Sister Quate as well, the Ruach and Truth apparel that I'm rocking right now. She is also has embraced, while Banat Shalahaya is looking for that. She has also embraced the cover of the Light Hebrew magazine there. And it's actually a double cover because on the other side, again, the greatest co-host in all the land, Ayo Ben Yahoo. And if you haven't got your copy, I don't know. I think it might be too late. But hey, you know, you never know unless you try. But that is the Light Hebrew magazine. Yeah. All
right. So my next little tip that I wanted to share, none other than Ernie Hudson. If you don't know who Ernie Hudson is, he starred in Ghostbusters some years ago. For those of you who are old enough to remember the original Ghostbusters movie, you remember Ernie Hudson and his role and when he came onto the scene. He's been in several other movies, but what I didn't realize was how old Ernie Hudson really is. And if you go back and look at some of his castmates, they look their age, even though they're younger than him. Your Dan Aykroyd, your Bill Murray, they are
pink.
Are, huh?
All pink.
Yeah, they're younger than him, but they look their age.
Yeah,
and probably look older than him. Ernie Hudson is 78 years old.
Yeah,
I mean, amazing.
Yeah,
at 78 years old. And this has kind of been going around the internet for a little bit. So I went and did a little research to figure out, you know, what kind of diet does he have? Is it anything special? And it's nothing like outlandish, outrageous, or anything that can't be done. But he definitely talks about drinking lots and lots of water. He drinks tons of water all day long, which attests to his skin. He did talk about using vitamin C under his eyes, and he practices I forget what it's called, intermittent fasting diet, where he only eats between 12 and 7 every single day. And he does not say that he's a vegan, because he does still eat meat, but he does not eat meat very often. So I just wanted to put that out there, because, you know, in true form, you know, black don't crack. So Ernie Hudson, 78 years old.
Big ups to that, man, for sure. Because I never would have guessed that brother was just by looking down. That's the same brother that was in Get Out, ain't it?
In Get Out, what was he in Get Out?
Was it Get Out, the one where they were stirring the cup?
Yeah, but who did he play in Get Out?
He was the brother that was running at him. That was the butler that they had took over. That's not him?
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. No, sir.
That's not okay.
No.
All right. My bad.
Wrong show, sir.
What show was that?
I have no idea, but it definitely is not Get Out.
I'm gonna look it up on the next song break.
Please do.
I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna be right for the first time, y'all. It don't happen often.
Well, you know, you said it, not me.
Yeah.
There was somebody else that I was going to talk about. I have his name here, and I cannot remember what I was going to bring up about him. So give me 5 seconds. Let me see. Oh, I remember. Do you know who Brian Tyree Henry is?
I don't.
Brian Tyree Henry. Uh-oh, my mic. All right, technical difficulties. So Brian Tyree, let me share a picture of Mr. Brian Tyree. I just saw something kind of disturbing. And it could be that this is who this brother has been all along, and it just is now coming to light. But I find it very interesting that Mr. Tyree has kind of changed his entire image. Let me throw this on the screen really quick. This is Brian Tyree Henry.
That brother from ATL.
Yeah. So he's starting quite a few things. He's starting was it Bullet Train?
Yeah.
Is that what the name of it was?
Yeah.
Bullet Train. He was in what did you just say?
ATL. That's where I took note of him
ATL.
at ATL.
He's been in quite a few things, and you know he looks quite masculine in most of his pictures, if you ask me. However, and I don't see it on here. Oh, I don't see it on here.
Looking like a fruitcake, a whole fruitcake.
So this
Just
is kind of
put his name in and put in fruitcake.
But this, you know what? I'm not playing with you
It'll
today,
pop
sir.
up.
This is the start of it. Like, what is that? I think I have a jacket that looks like this. I'm just saying. I just find it very interesting that he went from being this macho, as our Hispanic brothers and sisters call him, machismo looking male, to now all of a sudden this is him in can you see that? This is him in ATL. To the pictures that they had that have been floating around the internet as of lately. Gosh, I wish I had it on here. This is another what is this? Can you see this? Like, what is that? How do we go from being masculine to this?
Right.
It's just it blows my mind. And I think what's so crazy is whenever you bring it up, people always ask you, well, why do you have a problem with it? Why do you have a problem with it? Because why do all of our men in Hollywood, or a good portion of them, have to go there?
Right.
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So at any rate,
I look forward to. I don't see that picture myself, but yeah, I guess they done scrubbed the internet of it, but it was a real picture. And the thing is that Hollywood, when I saw it, I don't know if you showed it to me, if our son showed it to me, but the first thing came out of my mouth is that Hollywood is going to figure out a way how to get them. It's a shame to me that a person could want something so much. And that's what it generally be, because I talked about this one time before, that Hollywood don't make nobody do nothing. You got choices.
we all got choices.
Yeah, you got choices. They don't make any of these people do anything. But you want something so much to the point to where you, for real, you know, you would sell out. You would sell your soul out for something like that. But yeah, so the brother did a phenomenal job in ATL. But yeah, it was sad. That was a sad picture.
Yeah, it broke my heart, quite honestly. But you know, it is what it is. So moving right along, we'll go ahead and jump right into our hot topics.
All right, let's get it.
Those, I guess you could say, were hot topics. These are hotter topics.
Right. There would be no clock tonight. It'd just be us.
Yep.
All right, then.
I'll put you on the clock, though.
All right, I'm sure you will.
All right. So our first topic up is for those of you who have not heard, or maybe you have, this man here, Jean Carlos Zarzuela, I believe it's pronounced, punched a 9-year-old girl in the face on Saturday, April 13th at about 11:50 a.m. while she and her mom were in Grand Central Station dining concourse. The girl was taken to hospital for treatment. I haven't heard an update on how she's doing, if she had to have anything done, any kind of procedure, anything. However, prior to this incident on April 4th, MTA cops charged him with punching a 54-year-old woman in the face. Manhattan criminal court judge Pamela Goldsmith ordered him held on a $2,500 cash bail or $10,000 bond. He had a bench warrant out for assault cases in Manhattan and Brooklyn. And on Tuesday, Manhattan criminal court judge Lori Peterson released him without bail just 4 days before the attack on the young girl. So I have a twofold question here. Where's that heavy police presence in the subways of New York? You know, we talked about this on a couple of shows ago about how they had all this police force out and people said that they felt safer. And, you know, we definitely had varying opinions on whether it was overkill or not. But
Right.
if they've got this huge, heavy police force, you know, presence, where were they when this happened? Because it took them a minute to find him. Let me throw that out there. And then the other thing is, how do you think this should be handled? Because I have some feelings about the judge who released him. So I'll turn it over to you for your feedback.
Yeah, surely, you know, that heavy police presence, like we talked about a couple of shows back. I don't know if that was last week or the week before last. I had made the point that it was overkill, and this sure actually proves what I was saying, because it's not about slowing down crime. Because if you remember that when we reported on that, we talked about it, we even stated that the crime rate had decreased on the train since 2022, but the occupancy, or the people who was riding the train, it had increased. So you got this guy, right, who is a known puncher in the subway. This police presence that they have in my opinion, people like this guy here, he should be nowhere near the trains to begin with. He should be known, right? He got a history of punching people on the train. So if you got this heavy presence to keep people safe, here you got a repeat offender. Why is he here? Why is he even able to be, you know what I'm saying, at the train to punch this girl, this 9-year-old girl in the face? You look at that picture, you know, everything to me is a stage any daggone way. Look at that picture, you know, it's like, you know, everything goes down in New York to me, but not, I think New York is the epicenter of everything that could go wrong, that is going to go wrong. You look at New York and you can get you a filter as to how things are going to be in other places. Are you tired? I mean, yeah. You ain't got no feedback? Or,
I do. I didn't know you were done with that. I was actually looking because I saw something I think yesterday. It says when they asked him his feeling, what happened, why he did it, he said he punched her in the face because he was thirsty.
You're right.
He said maybe he hit her in the face by accident.
Right.
I don't know how you I know how you can flail your arms in a way where you may accidentally hit somebody, you're stretching or whatever the case is. I don't know how you punch somebody in the face by accident unless you shadow boxing or whatever. But I don't understand his rationale here and how he did it because he was thirsty. That makes absolutely no sense to me. At any rate, so with that being said, my other piece on that is, I think the judge who released him after he punched the 54-year-old woman in the face, she should have to answer for this. Because there's a lot of situations where you have judges who release people for various different reasons, and they go out to re-offend. And generally, when they go out and re-offend, they go out and re-offend in a big way. It's typically a worse crime than they did before, or they do it in rapid succession. So it keeps happening. It keeps happening. So judges are voted in. We select those judges to make decisions to take care of criminals, or so we say that's what we're doing. I think she should have to answer for why she decided to let this guy out
Well, remember, bail was set for him on the case in April the 4th. And I'm kind of glad that you brought that up. And it says, however, the people, understand, it said the people. You know, when you go to court, it say the people versus, or to say the state. In this case, it would be what? The state of New York versus, right? And it says the people and the police were not able to secure the paperwork to meet the $170.70. Now, I don't know if that was a misprint in a particular article that I was reading, but it said they was not able to secure the paperwork to meet the $170.70 burden, and the defendant was released on his own recognizance on April the 9th. Okay. So it says Safer, who was the officer at the time, said the reference to the clause where prosecutors can show good cause to keep a defendant in custody beyond 5 days of misdemeanor charges. But that bit of information right there, but not makes me believe that he is an illegal. Seeing that the people, it says the people, it ain't talking about us, you and I, or the people, quote unquote, in New York. It's talking about the state, right?
Right.
Seeing that the state was not able to secure his paperwork. Everything comes down to jurisdiction. They were probably not able to bond him because he is an illegal. He don't have a bond to bond, if that makes any sense. That's one of the things that make it so scary with all of these illegals that's over here right now. Remember the illegals that got caught in New York that was beating a police officer? Mm-hmm. How long did they stay in jail? I think less than 24 hours. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they can't secure a bond for them because they have no paperwork. You see what I'm saying? There is no jurisdiction. Now they can hide them. Don't get me wrong. When I say they can't keep them, you know, I'm talking about
within the
legally, right? Within the code. Yeah, exactly. And so you got all of these illegals, and I'm still not upset with Governor Abbott for getting them up out of here and shipping them to New York and places like that. But that's where they are. So they're going to be doing a lot of stuff, and we're going to be seeing a lot of them walking on a lot of the things that they're doing because they are illegals.
I get it. I guess it speaks to, if you think about why Governor Abbott decided he was going to start busing and shipping loads and loads of illegals from Texas to some of these other places to make it their problem. I mean, granted, we don't have a subway, but we do have public transportation. We do have other areas that, you know, these people can frequent and commit crimes if they so chose. They decided to do that. So at the end of the day, kudos to Judge Abbott for giving this problem to somebody else.
Yeah, most definitely.
It's easy to say you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, when your state is not the one being affected. Exactly. So he saw a problem and he decided to do something about it. So since y'all said what is it calling us? There's a term for
is it safe haven or
something along those lines. It's essentially what it is. But if you say that's what your city is, right? Okay, well here you go. Yeah, that's what they're getting. But you know,
but all of this is by design, though. I mean, I don't care what nobody's saying. Nobody is going to be able to convince me any different. This is all by design. Back to what we was talking about not long ago on the show. I think it was just last week when I was saying that the Democrats, they are intentionally, they turn up as much stuff as they possibly can.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying? And this is one of those examples. New York is, for real, like I say, the epicenter of whatever can go wrong is going to go wrong in New York. And they have absolutely, what did Jerry Jones say about press? He said even bad press is what is good press. Yeah. So that's what you got in New York, man. This stuff here, man. Yeah, this brother here. Yeah, I think right now, he got like over a $10,000 bond. I think for hitting the girl. I think he actually got a bond now.
Yeah, $10,000 bond.
With the $10,000,
$2,500 cash bail.
$10,000 bond. Yeah, I think he actually got one now. But yeah, someone should definitely have to answer to this. He has absolutely no reason to be anywhere near. He should be banned from the train.
Getting on the subway somewhere. Yeah.
He should be banned.
Even though
from the train.
the public transportation system in New York is very vast. I don't know how that would be possible unless they have somebody stationed at every single entrance on the trains in New York.
Well, before we leave, then that also brings up, because we talking about more police, bigger government, and we're going to get into a story. Matter of fact, our very next story, that brings up facial recognition.
Right.
New York is going to be, if they ever bring in to where you're going to have cameras everywhere for facial recognition, they'll be able to keep a person like this here from being able to get on a train anywhere. Because as you go in, just like you got to get your ticket, your face is going to get scanned too. And as your face gets scanned, it's going to be either accessed or denied.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, all of that. And this is why they allow stuff like this to happen, so the people could get the fear, and then they can agree to things like that, which does what essentially takes away more rights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I may need to pull up the clock for you, sir, because you about to send us down a rabbit hole. So moving right along to the next topic, the FISA program. So it was a great segue into this next topic, which is the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA. So the House voted to drastically expand Section 702 surveillance program instead of putting limits on it. And basically what that does is it compels communication service providers to hand over loads of data to U.S. intelligence. Big tech and telecom companies like AT&T won't be the only ones finding themselves forced to help agencies spy on people. Per the amendment, this obligation would be extended to any service provider with access to equipment that is being or may be used to transmit or store wire or electronic communications. There are narrow expectations for hotels, restaurants, and community facilities, but the broad language could mean anyone from commercial landlords to the geek squad. You know, the geek squad, they typically work at like Best Buys or some of these other tech places, could potentially be dragged into secretly aiding U.S. intelligence. Said all that to say, what should Americans fear the most about passing this bill?
The government. The government. This is what we should fear the most about passing this bill. But the sad thing is, going back to the story that we just had, they allow atrocities to happen to people for fear. What do we always say on this show? Fear sells. And these are things that they want to sell. They want to sell all of these types of gadgets. Look at the type of work that I do. What do I do? I go in homes and I'm installing cameras by a certain name, and I got 1 million permissions that I have to go through. Why do you need so many permissions? Because the permissions is giving them access to your life.
Right.
So why these people feel like they are putting in security to secure themselves, what they're really doing is giving up security. Who are you giving it up to? Because all of this stuff records. And if you record something, that means it has to be stored somewhere.
Right.
It has to be stored somewhere. So, I mean, you asked the question, you know, what was the question you asked again? How did you ask the question?
What should Americans fear the most about the passing of this bill?
We should fear the government, man. Somewhere along the way in history, we forgot that the government works for us. They didn't forget that. We forgot that. They still know it, but as long as you allow them, what do I always tell you about people? People will
get away with what you allow them.
What you allow them to get away with, right?
Yeah.
And so we are allowing them to get away with crimes, because that's what it is. That's what we're allowing them to get away with crimes and take away all of our rights. Constitution through the 4th Amendment, it protects people from unreasonable searches and seizures by the government. That's what the 4th Amendment is.
So read it again. Say it. Start from the beginning.
The Constitution through the 4th Amendment protects people from unreasonable.
Stop. From what?
Unreasonable.
Okay, who determines what's unreasonable?
The government.
Okay. So at this point, they're going to make everything reasonable.
They're going to make everything
for everything.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what they're going to do. What is the Enemy Act? I believe it was called the Enemy Act. I believe it's called the Enemy Act. I'm hoping I'm not wrong on that. But when they declared the Enemy Act, they essentially put every citizen in America, including you and I, as enemies to the state at that particular time. So if we are enemies to the state, then guess what? Section 702, no matter how often they say, because I saw like 3 or 4 videos of Obama saying we will not record conversations and take data from Americans and blah, blah, blah. You lying. In fact, I'm going to ask you this question. Why should we believe them when they say that? What have they ever done in the past to make us want to believe them?
Nothing. We shouldn't.
See?
We shouldn't believe them.
So what was the whole reason of coming up with something like this, Section 702 anyway, man? It says warrantless spying on non-Americans, but also allows agencies. It says Section 702 authorized warrantless spying on non-Americans. Okay. But what did you teach me about the word but?
Anytime there's a word but, you can forget about everything that was said prior to.
Also allows agencies to spy on any American who interact with foreigners. That's where the problem is.
And they didn't specify what kind of foreigners. It just says
Foreigners.
I have friends that are foreigners, roommates from college that are foreigners.
Right.
Work with foreigners.
Right.
So, yeah, I just think at the end of the day, what they always do is they dress this stuff up and make it seem like they are doing us a bill of goods. They're selling us a bill of goods, but they make it seem like they're giving us something that is going to help us. They are presenting this thing as though it is going to protect us from some greater deal. So you start giving up your small little freedoms, like with the Ring cameras. Anybody that has Ring cameras, bless your heart. Like, to some degree, I understand why you have it. If you've had packages stolen, you're trying to keep people from being on your property. You got teenagers you're trying to keep an eye on, that kind of thing. If you have kids that are coming home from school, you're trying to watch to make sure they get in safe. So I understand the totality of why we have that, but they dressed it up so nice that the little bitty things that you sign off on that says that they can record this, they can hold this information, they can use this for other purposes. Think about when you have crimes that are committed. What do police do? They start going around other people's homes and asking, do you have cameras? Do you have cameras? Do you have cameras? And to some degree, they will ask you for permission to use your cameras.
Well,
right?
That's what this Section 702 is going to be, to the point that they're not going to have to ask you now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So at any rate, I just think we have to be very cautious about this act, because there's going to be a lot of things that come with it, specifically them naming AT&T, any phone companies, any pictures, any kind of data you save on your phone. Like, there's all kinds of apps people have on their phone to whether it be to save all your passwords, to do budgeting and financing. There's people use all different types of health apps, whatever the case is. But your cell phone service providers will have an obligation to the government to give up that information if they so choose.
Right.
Like if they decided, hey, we want to know everybody that has cell phone service with AT&T that has a heart condition.
Right.
And how do they know? Because you have the app that
Right.
says, I have a heart condition. This is what you need to do. So all those things you think are being monitored for your benefit are going to be turned around and used later.
Exactly.
for
Against you.
purposes.
Right here in Houston, we talked about it a little bit while we was preparing for the show. They talked about it on the news not long ago, about how they are going to start forcing all businesses here in Houston to have closed circuit TV cameras.
Right.
For that very reason right there. And to land back on what you was talking about, here is a quote from an article. It said, if the Senate also passes this bill, including the Turner and Himes amendment, it says the vote will probably take place on Thursday. This is exactly what you was talking about. Big tech and telecom companies like AT&T won't be the only ones finding themselves forced to help agencies spy on people. Per the amendment, this obligation would be extended to any service provider with access to equipment that is being or may be used to transmit or store wire or electronic communications, which means that, like I've always been saying, we are paying for monthly the government to spy on us, man.
Yep, absolutely. So keep an eye out for more information on this FISA or the 702 surveillance program, because it's definitely something that we need to be leery about, in my opinion.
Right.
All right. So our next topic, this one is pretty sad. We had I don't even know where really to kind of start this one from, but what happened here is you had a family where the husband decides, for whatever reason, to take his wife out, take his son out, and then take himself out.
Tough, man. Rough.
So the police officer in Kansas City shot his wife, 12-year-old son, before turning the gun on himself in a horrific murder-suicide. So his name is Gerald D. McGeechee, 38, worked as a police officer with the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs alongside his wife, Dominic, who worked as a nurse. Just after 9:45 on Monday, April 1st, the couple were found dead inside their home after reports of a request for a wellness search or a welfare check on the family. The 12-year-old boy uploaded a worrying social media post at 5:29 a.m. the same day he was found dead. Mm-hmm. While the post has not been publicly shared, it's known to have made references to discipline by the father, the mother's decision to separate from the father, and differences between the parents. So they're saying there's not a true motive yet, but you can speculate kind of what happened there, what the situation was. And I think I heard you say earlier when you were researching this that she was talking about leaving him. I mean, right. I know I said it here that there was talks about the mom deciding to leave, but I think that probably had a lot to do with this situation. The whole, if I can't have you, can't nobody have you type situation. But the other thing that's sad about this is the 12-year-old apparently has been kind of a mini celebrity, if you will. He was going around the country, different places, and doing Martin Luther King speeches. Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't get a chance to hear any of his speeches. I actually didn't even go listen to any of his speeches, just because I felt like that would have been a little too sad to hear this kid's voice, regardless of what kind of speeches he was doing, for a 12-year-old, right, to have his life taken from him at the hands of his own father,
and that voice is silenced now.
Yeah, it's disturbing. But my question in this situation is, we're seeing more and more of these types of events, especially occurring in our own community, if you will. What's really going on? Like, what's happening that we're starting to see this more? Because there used to be a time, remember when we had the DC sniper? And before they knew who it was, everybody
thought he was white.
Everybody was convinced.
Even white
people were convinced he was white.
Even white people.
And then all of a sudden, when you saw that it was like, everybody lost their minds when they realized
that
guy, he was black, and his associate, if you will, was also black.
Yeah.
But there used to be a time where when stuff like this happened, you didn't even bat an eye, because these are typically white people crimes. Right. They weren't things that we did, especially a murder suicide like this. So especially taking out your own kid. But again, I ask, what do you think is really going on?
Judgment got to start in the house of Israel.
Okay.
Judgment has to start in the house of Israel. This is a conglomerate of everything that we are seeing that is going on with the fall of the government, the fall of the nation, the uncertainties that's going on, the tumult that's going on, everything that is happening. And here we are now. The Bible is speaking up for itself. things are happening the way that the Most High said that it is. Another thing, though, you look at, I mean, it's happening a lot, but not. I almost called you by your government name.
Oh,
But yeah, it's happening a lot. What's going on? You can't hardly turn the news on right now without seeing something crazy happening, as far as with murder, suicide. Look at the witch, and I'm gonna call her. That's what she was. Look at the witch right after the eclipse that killed herself running into a tree at 100 miles an hour. She killed her boyfriend, and then she killed one baby, and one baby was seriously injured. That was a full-blown witch. And this goes into, to answer the question that you was talking about, it is the allowance of so many strange spirits that is in this world right now. We are allowing it. Every week, there is an introduction of a new gender. You just told me about a new one that I had absolutely no idea of, that I would not have believed if anybody else had told me that kids can identify as animals if they want to. So the earth is only so big. This is one of the things we have to understand. It's only so big, and the inhabitants are making it known who they want to follow. Just like in the time when they was building the Tower of Babel. Have you ever wondered to yourself why King Kong is on the land and Godzilla is in the water? Have you ever wondered to yourself? The reason why is because the two of them can't cohabitate. Exactly. There's no way. So none of us will remain somewhere where we are not wanted. And we were created in the image of the Most High. So if we got enough sense to leave a place where we feel unwanted, guess what the Ruach of the Most High is doing in the earth?
Right.
It's leaving.
Right.
And the more the Ruach of the earth, and the more that the Ruach leave from the earth, the love of many is waxing colder and colder. And we're starting to see that in Judah. Look, thank you, Ruach, for even bringing this to me. You said we never would have batted an eye. We just know that it's white people. And for years we say, man, that's white folk stuff. That's white folk. We know that they are different. The Ruach ain't never really been with them. This is why that's normally white folk stuff.
Right.
The Ruach has always been with us. What do the Bible say about Jacob? That we're what? Tent dwellers. In other words, in layman's term, we cool as a fan. We gonna go work. We gonna come back home. We gonna get comfortable. We gonna kick our shoes up. We gonna turn our radio on, and we gonna pour us up some wine, and we gonna chill. Right? Now that the Ruach is leaving, guess what we turning into? Because we're choosing to be more and more like them, guess what? Ahaya is allowing us to be more and more like them.
Give you what you're asking
I'm
for.
giving you what you asked for.
You remember that movie, The Happening?
I don't.
With Mark Wahlberg, when the wind would blow, weird stuff would happen.
Mm-hmm.
People would start killing themselves or killing other people,
right,
killing each other, jumping out of windows, stabbing themselves in the eye. And as odd as that movie was, the thing that resonated with me is there's a part in the movie where Mark Wahlberg is a science teacher, and he talks about what nature does to try and correct itself, to try and correct certain things. And when it feels like, it's not appreciated in its habitat, it will move around. And so he started saying, what if the plants and the trees are doing what they're doing because they don't appreciate how we as humans are acting in this world, if you will, or on earth, if I can say it that way. It's almost the same to me. It's in the same vein as the Ruach leaves, right? It's like the winds are blowing and things that didn't used to happen are now happening. Because what you said about the woman running into that tree,
right?
That's just one thing,
right?
We did a story on the lady who decided she was going to kill some people because she said the eclipse told her to do it. There were so many other stories that I read, had nothing to do with the eclipse, just all kinds of different stories where people have either killed themselves or killed a loved one, and everybody's shocked that this is happening, right? Everybody's looking at it like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. Oh, I can't believe this is happening. The one thing that I do recognize, though, is that more and more people are starting to understand something is going on.
Something is going on.
They can't put their finger on it. We were, your oldest son and I were going, I can't remember where we were coming from, but the lady that passed, when we were having coffee the other morning, when we took our big dog out for a little stroll for the day, our old man took him out for a stroll, and lady walked by with her baby and just, good morning, how are you guys? And, went right on into the coffee shop. And he turned around and said, why can't more people be like that? Like, why can't people just be kind? Why is it that, some people act the way that they act or do the things that they do? And then I think we had a very similar experience when we were going to eat dinner the other night. The girl was on her way out of the restaurant. Her shift was over, and she spoke like she was waiting for us to give her a tip. Not that that's what was happening, not that's what she was doing, but people tend to be a little nicer when you're about to when they're about to wait on you because they want that fat tip.
Right.
She was on her way out the door, and she was like, hi, how are you guys? Like, no big deal. You don't see that very often anymore. So I just think it's very telltale that more and more people are starting to recognize that there is definitely something going on. They can't quite put their finger on it. They're not sure.
It can't be ignored, though. It can't be ignored.
Much like the movie,
it's so much stuff that's going on that if you're not recognizing everything, there is something that you are going to recognize. Right. There is something that you are going to. It's obvious that if there was a piece of, what's that famous painting with that white woman that everybody,
Mona Lisa?
If a piece of the Mona Lisa was cut out of it, somebody would notice that. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So, all right. Well, we're going to take our first music break, and then we'll come back with some more hot topics, if you will.
God, let's get it.
I feel like a lot of people in this truth, they really deal with the most, but they really don't even speak up about it. You know you gotta just lean upon the Most High and just keep praying and understand that we gonna be saved. Just hold it down and be patient. On this instrumental, I'm giving God his acknowledgement. He gave me long life and long days, he fixed my consonants. I ain't taking minutes to repent, I made hastening. Like a Levi, cut you up if you believe in Satanist. Yeah, I was in the spirit, so I do not need no featuring. No sins of the flesh, I think I will be standing. Listening to J Dilla beats, I'll reading scripts again. If you cross me, I wash your feet, I got some humbling. Down where my people at, who go save us and restore? I guess they ain't got need for that. Other nations, they don't care, let's keep it real, let's speak the facts. In a minute we gon' be saved, so I ain't stressing that. Please get my back when I'm down, don't wanna detach from this truth. It give me smiles that I ain't never had. Love is the mission, you give it, then I give it back. Yeah, this for the nation, don't need no lyric check. This is not our homeland, many tribulations, every day we facing. We are in a box for real, Christ is coming back to bring us back where we used to dwell. Just hold it down and be patient till you get sealed. This is not our homeland, many tribulations, every day we facing. We are in a box for real, Christ is coming back to bring us back where we used to dwell. Just hold it down and be patient till you get sealed. Feeling like King David, I got Philistines I kill with ease. If you eat a mic, won't smoke, then best believe I'm blowing trees. I ain't even talking about smoking, but I see them all as trees. Come and see this beast in Revelations, this is my spooky dream. Well, it's me, who's gonna save me, it's all in the things. Me and Ezra share the same blood, we locked in like we can. Don't care, I'ma show love if you from another camp. White fire is what they gon' call us, but we the watchmen. This is not our homeland, many tribulations, every day we facing. We are in a box for real, Christ is coming back to bring us back where we used to dwell. Just hold it down and be patient till you get sealed. This is not not our homeland. Many tribulations, every day we facing. We are in the box for real. Christ is coming back to bring us back where we used to dwell. Just hold it down and be patient till you get sealed. Yeah, it's no problem, we can study and maybe go teach. Soon as you cross me, I'm gonna mark you, then clean you with bleach. Baptized by the Holy Spirit is not what it seems. Living in the water, so I tell the beast to go and stay back. If that boy repent, then it's no mission, go and shut your lips up. Judging like you better judgments coming, it's gonna be up. Up like 50,000 miles in the sky, I never thought I'd be up. Cherubs and the angels seeing how I'm waving back like Shalom. This is not our homeland, many tribulations, every day we facing. We are in the box for real. Christ is coming back to bring us back where we used to dwell. Just hold it down and be patient till you get sealed. This is not our homeland, many tribulations, every day we facing. We are in the box for real. Christ is coming back to bring us back where we used to dwell. Just hold it down and be patient till you get sealed. Till you get sealed. I don't know. It's just like just remember what I said in the beginning here. You know that. So, shalom. Peace.
One second. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, 1 second. What's going on with that mic? Why doing that? You good?
Yes, I believe so.
All
right, moving right along. So, the EU wants to suspend, or is being encouraged to suspend, ties with Israel to prevent genocide in Gaza. So the EU is a unique economic political union between 27 European countries. The EU that we know today has its roots in several treaties signed in the aftermath of the Second World War. The first step was to foster economic cooperation based on the idea that countries that trade with one another become economically interdependent and so are more likely to avoid conflict. The result was a European Economic Community created in 1958 with the initial aim of increasing economic cooperation between 6 countries: Belgium, Germany, France, Italy, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. A recent initiative by the leaders of Ireland and Spain calling on the European Commission to suspend the EU-Israel agreement has been met with resistance by other member states eager to uphold the bloc's stance of solidarity with Israel. And my mic is, boy, these technical issues tonight are something else. My mic is.
I heard you.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Well, you should be good.
Okay. I guess the mic said tonight is Tuesday. We were supposed to be off.
Right.
Where was I? Okay. A decision to halt the agreement will require the unanimous backing of all 27 EU member states, but the bloc's leaders have consistently clashed over their collective stance on the conflict that erupted following Hamas's attack on Israel on October 7th. There's division on what Israel is doing as it relates to human rights. The European Union is still buying and selling arms to Israel that are being used in combat that, they're saying are falling on the heads of Palestinian children in the Gaza Strip. Hence the picture that I have here. I didn't want to show their faces because these are somebody's children. But
you censored that.
Yes, these are 2 children laying here, and the pictures are horrific. And then the U.S. and Germany combined are estimated to supply some 99% of all arms Israel receives from foreign governments. Estimates put Germany's arms sales to Israel at 300 million euros in 2023 alone. So if Europe has called for a ceasefire and the U.S. has alluded to it, if the ceasefire does not come, what is the recourse?
Nothing. There is no recourse, and all of this is for for distractions, giggles, just to keep it, to keep it right, man. There is no recourse. There has to be, in the world we live in, and we mention it so much on Truth Be Told Flex podcast, that there has to be opposition. You dig what I'm saying? So we know, the world know, and when I say the world, I'm talking about people, normal people who are not pulling any strings, just from what our ears hear and from what our eyes see. We know that is a genocide that is happening over there in Gaza. It's Gaza, right? Nobody has to, you know what I'm saying? Nobody has to try to convince any of anything different. So we just did a show last week that America is selling F-15 fighter jets to Israel. Mm-hmm. Just last week, we just did that show. I don't know how many times we have reported on Truth Be Told Flex podcast that America is sending gobs and gobs and gobs of money over there. At the same time, right, Biden was supposed to have been talking to Netanyahu and telling him he needs to slow down his opposition. So how is it that I can tell you that you need to slow down in what it is that you're doing, but at the same time, that's almost equivalent to me telling, you know what I'm saying, telling my son, you know, that you need to stop drinking and driving, right? But yet I go get you a case of beer and keep giving you the keys to the car.
Right.
You know,
make it make sense.
Make that make sense, man. At this particular time, I'm confused. How is the UN? Because the article that I read is the United Nations. We know who the United Nations is, and we know who backs the United Nations the most. Who is the head of the United Nations, which is America. A UN expert said that Israel has committed genocide in Gaza, and it calls for arms embargo. You work for America. And America is doing this here. This is how I know that ain't nothing gonna happen. To go to your question, all of this here is to soothe the people, to make the people. These are big names: EU, Economic Union, if they what it's called, UN, United Nations. These are big people saying this, but they ain't doing nothing. You know what they doing? They sitting up with their feet up on the desk right now, man. Probably filing their nails or clutching their nails and say, hey, write an article and say UN expert says that Israel has committed genocide in Gaza, and print that. They probably talked to Chat GPT and told them to write up the article.
That is entirely possible.
You know what I'm saying? And send that thing out, man. But this is a question that I have for you, but not. I got two questions. Wouldn't that make America, if they are, which we know that they are committing genocide over there, wouldn't that make America an accomplice? First question.
Accomplice, yes.
Yeah. They're an accomplice to what's going on over there, right? The second question, what Israel is doing, what's different than what the Germans did to them?
Nothing.
Not a thing.
Not a thing. It's just now I'm the bully with the power, so I'm going to show you what my power is.
Exactly.
I'm about to show you who I am. At the end of the day, on both sides of the fence, Israel, Palestinians, there are real people being hurt. There are real people
that have nothing to do with
this political stuff. And I find it very disturbing that you have people from Israel saying, you know, you can't support Palestine. You can't support Palestinians. You can't take up for them. You can't defend them. Why the hell not?
Right.
What if, how white people like, some of my best friends are black. What if some of my best friends are Palestinians?
Right.
They're not the Palestinians you're fighting.
Right.
So why can't I support Palestine?
Right.
Right?
Right.
I don't understand where you're trying to force my loyalty to you.
And that's exactly what it is. You're trying to force my loyalty to you. It's just the same thing it is with that dadgum American flag at games. Like, you know, was the Kim Mulkey and LSU came under fire because they was in the locker room doing the thing of the national anthem. It's the exact same thing. Like, look, I have a freaking opinion, man, right? And at the end of the day, like you said, women and children that don't have anything to do with what's going on over there in the world that we live in. I'm gonna put it like that, in the world that we live in, okay? Because when you look at the Bible, the Most High told him to go in there and kill up everything. You know what I'm saying? He really did. That was under directives. He said, go up in there and kill up everything. And we know that Saul did. But in the world that we live in, under the laws that we are supposed to have, under the Geneva War Act, right? That's supposed to police this type of stuff, right? They'll tell us in a heartbeat, well, we're not living in the time. Okay, well, if we not, and we got certain laws, what you're doing is criminal.
What are you doing?
It's criminal.
Absolutely.
What you're doing right now, man. So that brings us back to what we've been saying. That's a land grab over there. Look, if America win, EU win. If EU win and America win, guess who else win? United Nations win.
Right.
So to answer your question, what's going to happen if they don't? Nothing. Guess what America going to do as soon as they sell them F-15s to them? They're going to sell some more weapons to them. Guess whose pockets getting padded when they sell them? People in the UN and people in the EU as well.
Yep. You're absolutely right. I still always go back to, though, this definitely reminds me of when the Hutus and Rwandans were fighting all those years ago. And the UN did not or could not really do anything. They couldn't really get involved. And if you ever watched Hotel Rwanda, one of the things that stuck out in my mind in that movie is when that UN representative told, I'm not even going to try and pretend I can say that the guy's name, the main character, the one that Don Cheadle was playing,
right,
who pretty much saved everybody. He told him, "You're not just black, you're an African."
Right.
They don't care. They literally were watching this unfold. This happened in 1994.
Yep.
They were watching this unfold, and because there was nothing over there that America or anybody else wanted, just let them do whatever.
Just let them do what they do.
We love to get involved in other people's fights.
When it benefit us.
Exactly. We love to get involved in other people's battles if there is something in it for us. So at the end of the day, they don't really care about the people that are on the real people, the little people, if you will, that are involved in these battles,
right?
The ones suffering from it. So,
yeah,
obviously more to come on that because this happened October 7th.
Mm-hmm.
We are now in April,
and it makes me believe
April.
It makes me believe even more so that it was a false flag that Israel did it their own dadgum self just so that they can go into this thing, man. Because
entirely possible.
It was over with 3 days. As far as war tactics, 3 days later it was over with. Right. Israel had accomplished, man. Right. You know what I'm saying? So what are you doing now? All of these months later.
Yeah, man. So obviously, it's at this point we just got to kind of sit back and see what color Israel gonna put on the wall.
Right.
Right. All right. Next topic. So this one, I mean, I'm inclined to believe this kind of stuff happens every single day. So this lady here, Lisa Monk, 39 years old from College Station, initially went to a hospital in 2022 for stomach pains that she suspected were related to kidney stones. Tests from her appointment unfortunately revealed 2 kidney stones, but also flagged a mass on her spleen. She underwent a successful surgery to remove the mass in January of last year. But this is when the story gets a little weird. The spleen was sent to 3 different pathology labs to be tested before finally being sent to a 4th lab where it tested positive for a rare terminal form of cancer called clear cell angiosarcoma. She was given 15 months to live. Monk explained that she underwent a second round of therapy that left her vomiting and with silvery skin. She said, "It was a very dark time for me. I was writing goodbye letters and letters to the grandchildren I would never meet and the weddings I would never attend. Now, what eventually ended up happening is she went to a doctor's appointment, basically a follow-up appointment, and the lady sitting behind the desk, not sure if she was another nurse.
She was a practitioner.
Okay, well, she's looking at the computer, not really making conversation or having eye contact with Miss Monk, and realizes, oh no, we looked at the wrong labs all this time. These not yours. Got the doctor comes back, has a conversation with her. Oh yeah, sorry, you don't have cancer. This is after she's already gone multiple rounds of chemotherapy. And anybody who has ever been around anybody who's had to go through chemotherapy is the devil. It literally rips people up from the inside out. They become new individuals because of what the chemo does to their body. It is a chemo radiation treatment. It basically kills everything. And then your body is expected to repair itself. You know, we serve an amazing power that does give our body the tools that it needs to help do some of the things that it needs to do to cure us and take care of us as long as we take care of it. But she went through chemotherapy and she never even had cancer. So you saw my question on there. What the Hello Kitty? Like, explain how that happens. And the worst part of this is she said the doctor never even apologized to her.
Nah, instead of apologizing, he actually kind of congratulated her that she didn't have cancer, which I thought was kind of weird. I've always said, and you've heard me say this often about doctors, that they are serial killers. That's I mean, and they are serial killers that's the one profession where you can go and mess up at your job every day and not have to worry about getting fired. I don't understand it. It forces you to ask the question, how often do this happen? This is why I don't like going to doctors. This is like for real. Like somebody was telling me the other day, they found out how you need to go get this check. You need to go get that check. I'm like, bruh, I ain't having no issues. You know what I'm saying? I'm not having no issues. Not saying that something ain't wrong, but I ain't having no issues. So why go look for something that
not there? Yeah,
that's not existent just because they give you this timetable as to when you hit this mark, you got to go, because this is the thing, man. Big pharma is big money.
Man, what you talking?
Big pharma is big money. So when you get a certain age and people start feeling their what you call it, their mortality, you could darn near tell a person of age anything and they'll believe it because they at that age right now.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Yep. And I often use hospitals and mechanic shops in my analogy because both the doctor and the mechanic, they're specialists, right? You go to the doctor when you're not feeling well, you don't know what's wrong with you. So you go to the doctor so that he can check you out and tell you what's wrong.
Right.
You go to the mechanic because your car is not running right. So you go to the mechanic so he could diagnose your car and tell you what's wrong with it. But at the end of the day, when the doctor tells you, hey, you got cancer, and the mechanic tell you, hey, your motor is shot, well, who gonna argue with either one of them because they're specialists?
Right.
When in reality, ain't nothing really wrong with you. You dadgum sure ain't got cancer. And in reality, with your car, you probably got one spark plug that's misfiring.
Right.
So with the mechanic, you're going to be out of thousands of dollars to repair an engine that don't need to be repaired. And with the doctor, you about to go through chemotherapy.
You cutting years off your life.
You cut years off your life. So check this out. Okay, she don't have cancer, but she done went through chemotherapy.
Lost all her hair.
I can almost promise you that her immune system is wrecked.
It's shot. Yep, absolutely.
I can promise you that her immune system is wrecked.
Yeah, man. The analogy that you use, the only thing I would have thrown in there is you do take your car to the mechanic for tune-ups, right?
Right.
You gotta get your oil changed, your filters changed, some other stuff, mechanical stuff that I don't necessarily know anything about. I just know you're supposed to take your car to go get it tuned up. When you go to the doctor, you get a physical. It's kind of the same thing. You go get a physical to make sure nothing is going on. The problem is exactly what you said, though. Big pharma is big money. I can remember 20 years ago, they didn't advertise pills. They didn't advertise medication on TV. You went to the doctor and the doctor told you what you were going to get. Now you watch TV and the commercials tell you, hey, talk to your doctor and tell your doctor you want this medication for whatever the condition is. If you got diabetes, if you got heart issues, if you have asthma problems, you got eczema, you get to go to the doctor and tell them, you know what, I want to try this medication. I want to try that medication. They are advertising medicine. We're not experts. I mean, obviously the doctors aren't either, but they went to school for that. So based on whatever your condition is, based on who you are, what your specific situation is, they're supposed to prescribe what makes the most sense for you. But you get to go in and tell the doctor what you want. And then let's not even talk about the side effects that come with the medications that you take. Most of the medications are worse off than the condition you actually have. Unfortunately, though, for this lady, not only did she suffer mental anguish, she's suffering physical anguish too, because exactly what you said. She's lost years off of her life.
Yeah, she has, man. They have killed this chick. And I want to land back on what you was talking about with back going to the big pharma is big money and the medications, them advertising. Do you know who hold the most stock in pharmaceuticals?
Are you talking about a specific person?
No, not a specific person.
Oh,
a specific group of people. No, doctors. They invest in those pills. The government, of course, but doctors themselves, they have big money tied in all of those pills that you see on those commercials. Them doctors have stock in those pills, which means that they want those pills to sell, which means that and I can almost guarantee you that it's big money tied in chemotherapy, because people got cancer all the time. At least they say that they do, right? That stuff needs to be sold.
You're pointing to the right over there, y'all, because his TV is on that wall, his screen. That y'all don't necessarily know that, but that's what he points to.
Yeah, right. But yeah, they have an invested interest in those pills, in that medication.
Well, I don't know if you've ever been to the doctor. I know when I used to take the kids for their regular checkups, and because God bless their hearts, our kids had such horrible
eczema.
Lungs, when they would always have to go get breathing treatments because
right.
they their asthma, bronchitis, whatever the case was. But almost every single time we went to the doctor's office, there was always a representative that came in to sell specific medication to these doctors. A lot of times they would give them samples. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes you go in, and as a patient, depending on what you're in there for, you may get one of those sample packs. Mm-hmm. What was the movie that we watched? No,
I was thinking about it my own self. I can't remember the name.
It was on Netflix, but this is how the guy got addicted to these pain pills, is because he had an accident, hurt his back. Right. They give him these pills, and they gave him the first round as a sample because the doctor came in, the representatives came in and told him, oh, they're safe, they're non-addictive, you can use them for this, and blah, 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 blah. And so the guy starts using these pills. They even use him as a representative to talk about how great the pills were. Only on the backside, this dude was so addicted to these pills. Right. He's turning refrigerators over looking for the pill that he dropped that fell under the refrigerator.
Looking for Parmesan cheese on the ground.
Man.
Shout out to you. What's his name? Biden's son. Was it? What's his name? Hunter. That's a shout out to you, Hunter. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that boy that be looking for Parmesan cheese. He looking for crack though. Okay, go ahead.
Stop it. But yeah, so it's unfortunate. It's a sad situation what happened with this lady. In the long run, she, like I said, she's lost years off of her life, regardless of whether, you know, the fact that she does not have cancer. The doctor was right. Congratulations, you don't have cancer, but it's nothing that they did. Who's to say that she won't develop something as a result of having this chemo?
I'm not a prophet nor the son of a prophet, and I'm not wishing ill intent on this lady whatsoever. But her immune system is shot now. It is. You know what I'm saying?
If we hear 5 years from now that she has something, I don't think anybody would be surprised.
Would be surprised, man, right? Because like you say, what that chemotherapy does, it kills both good cells and bad cells.
And we've seen that firsthand.
This is why holistic treatments are better, because it cures the problem.
Correct.
It gets to the root of the problem.
Correct. But we could go on about this forever and ever, but we won't do that to the people. We're going to move on right along to this next topic. So Miss Mono has been all over this. She did a show a couple of weeks ago, and I think I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago when we brought out something a while ago that targeted and pinpointed this particular topic. So we've got another teacher in the news for molesting a child.
Saiki.
You trying to say this lady's name? Good grief, Charlie Brown.
Pedophile. Oh, that's not with an S though. Okay, my bad.
Okay, here we go. So on April 14th, a New Jersey teacher was caught in the backseat of her car half dressed with one of her students. Unfortunately, this is neither new or even shocking, as more female teachers are getting caught having sex with their students. So in 2017, they did a study, and nationwide, it found about 10% of all students experience sexual misconduct by school employees sometime between kindergarten and the time they graduate from high school. Male abusers outnumber females, the study said, but the number of reports of female educators charged with sex abuse of students is rising. Not necessarily because there are more women abusing children, but because they're getting caught. So there are generally three types of women who sexually abuse children, and this is beyond disturbing. The first target preschool children, often their own, and sexual abuse is often tangled up with sadistic violence. These women rarely get caught because the level of violence is so severe the children are afraid to talk. The second group of female sex abusers are coerced into sex by their adult male partners. And the third and largest group of female abusers includes many teachers, coaches, and school employees who get caught. Often the women in this group of abusers are in their mid-30s, married, have children, and often are popular both with other teachers and students. So you and I both know from town we used to live in about a couple of teachers, administrators at the school who were found to be having sex with their students. A couple of them with our son's friends specifically that we knew about. And it was, I won't say it wasn't a big deal, but it was kind of brushed under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't hear a whole lot about it. It came up and it was like, ooh, that happened. And then it went away. Mm-hmm. You didn't hear anything else about it. And I actually went and tried to research the lady who I think it was about 5 years ago who got caught in Athens having sex with one of her students, because one of the kids' friend brought it to their attention, and our kids brought it to our attention, but she got caught. And I went to try and look her up to see how much time she did. I can't find anything on her. I can't find anything that happened. And there's a lady that in 2019, she had sex with several, I want to say 5 of her students. Mm-hmm. And the judge only gave her probation. Mm-hmm. And basically said, of course, she's going to have to register as a sex offender, but she's suffered enough. Mm-hmm. So my question to you is, Why are there such double standards for sex crimes against children where women are concerned?
I have absolutely no idea why. I wished I knew why, but I don't know why. And it is very disturbing. I was reading the article and I was doing some research on this, and I Googled what is the average time a woman get, a teacher get for having sex with their students. And as I was reading some of the things that came up, I went into the comments and somebody had commented something that I agree with wholeheartedly, which is we need to stop saying sexual assault and call it rape, because that is exactly what they're doing. They are raping these kids. We have absolutely no idea the long-term effect of what it's going to be to these kids, when they grow up. There was a football player, and I cannot think of his name at this particular time, but there was a football player who just came out, and it wouldn't be hard to look him up. All you got to do is just Google him. He is now suffering because of what happened, what occurred to him when he was in high school with his trainer, which was the daughter of the coach. He's suffering from that right now, right? And I give props to him for talking about this, because when it comes to us as males, it's a strange thing. We'll be like, especially if the teacher looks good, right? We'll be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Not realizing, going back to what I said, 16, 17, 18 years old, guess what? That kid got raped. At the end of the day, that kid is going to have an issue or a problem with relationships down the road, probably with itself psychologically down the road. And the reason why I disagree with the numbers on what you said. I believe that it's more women sexual predators in schools than it is men. And I'm going to tell you why. Consequences keep people from doing strange stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now you got some, of course, we got a lot of men that are sexual predators out there. A lot of men that are sexual predators that do some strange stuff. I was just telling our oldest about a guy who picked up a girl here in Houston, and he took off and he did some strange stuff to that girl. You know what I'm saying? Sexual predator. But this the thing.
Sharice Wright is the NFL player.
Gotcha.
It was him along with 12 other plaintiffs who accused a former high school athletic trainer of a sexually assault.
And she was the daughter of the head coach. Am I correct? Right. Exactly. So back to what I was saying, these women don't have no fear of getting caught, because the average time that they're receiving when they do get caught is less than 5 years, even if they get jail time. Look at the teacher that was in Tomball. She only did 90 days in jail.
Mm-hmm.
How you only get 90 days in jail for raping a kid? And look at the age that you said they're normally between, 30 years old, about 30 years old, and they married and they have kids. Mm-hmm. Man, that's a sexual predator, man. That is a sexual predator that have absolutely make me feel like that the only reason you teaching is so that you could be around kids.
I don't know that it always starts out that way. I think there's something obviously mentally wrong with them, but I think there's something wrong in the home. There's something going on. Generally, you'll find that those women are abused to some degree in their own homes, one way or another. But I definitely adamantly all of them, man. I said to some degree, to some degree. But I adamantly disagree with you that there are more female sexual predators than there are male predators. I disagree.
I'm talking about in the schools.
I understand. I heard what you said. I disagree with you though.
Right.
I do disagree with that. I don't want to turn this into a male bashing session, so forgive me. Please don't throw stuff at me when I say it. But historically men have been more apt to sexual violence and being sexual predators than say females. It is our nature.
I'm not getting upset with you. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and there may be a lot of validity to what it is that you were saying, and maybe I'm talking off of like the article said that you read. They're getting caught more. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest with you, I probably agree with you too, because it's our nature we hunt. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so yeah, I agree with you on that. But yeah, it's still sickening though. But go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, that was pretty much it.
Now you was about to say something with nature.
You said it.
Oh,
women nurture, men hunt.
Right.
So yeah, that was pretty much it.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm having problems over here connecting. But yeah, man, that I looked up, I believe I sent you like 12 articles of women who have sexually assaulted their students, man. And you know, and I think a lot of the reasons it happens so much too, you know, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know why judges are more lenient on the women than they are on men. I wish I could answer that question. I don't know, because I feel like, look, if you rape my kid, man, I want to see you get all the time in the world.
Yeah.
All the time in the world.
All right. We got one more music break before we go into our last two topics. We're not going to have a Beyond Critical Race Theory tonight. I didn't want to replace what I know Ayo works really, really hard to put together. So I didn't want to replace that, but I did want to talk about an icon, and I imagine you guys will know who it is as soon as we talk about it. So that'll it's not a Beyond Critical Race Theory, but it will spotlight one of our own. So we'll go into this second music break, and then we'll come back and hit a couple of, I think these are heavy hitters.
Glory to Abba. "2020 was the start of a new mission, a way of looking at life from different lenses. Seemed like I got 2020 vision. I'm starting to see a little clearer now. Things aren't what it seemed, time to seek the truth now. I always been conscious of things, everything wasn't adding up, that's what it seems. I felt in my spirit it was gonna be a change in me. This so-called virus changed everything. Had to stay 6 feet away, but it was all just a plan. We had a curfew to be in at a certain time. Felt like I was bad being a little child. As the months passed by, I lost my mama. Until this day, I don't even know why. I got woken up from a phone call from my nephew saying my mama gone. I thought he was playing, it didn't seem real. That was the first time I cried in a long time. I had to wipe away my tears. Told myself I gotta go harder from this day forward. Never thought I would lose my mama, but that's part of life. Most High willing, she resting in peace. Now I'm on go, just trying to keep my peace. One day I found out we're the real Jews that the Bible speaks of. From that point on, I see what the Most High was trying to show me. I met a brother in downtown LA. I knew it was meant to be. I prayed about this the night before. My prayer came to life. I had faith and it came true. The Heavenly Father was showing me this was the way, the truth. A week later, I got baptized in Long Beach in the ocean. From that day forward, it was the start of a new me. New beginnings, had to put away the old me. Gotta start taking accountabilities. Yeah, man. All praises to the Most High. Man, I went through a lot of stuff in my life, man. But you know, it made me to who I am today. I had to go through what I went through to be who I am today. I don't regret nothing. It was always part of life. I don't regret nothing, cause it was all from the Heavenly Father. Shalom.
All right. So the way you see this picture, exactly how I feel about this. This has got to be the absolute worst reboot of a show I have ever seen in my life. The absolute worst. Um, we watched one episode. I tuned out at some point in the episode just because I could not believe the ridiculousness that I was witnessing on this screen. Um, I can't even describe my disappointment in this reboot. It's embarrassing and does nothing for the so-called Black community. And the people who show, and I get it, everybody needs a check, but sometimes you just have to say no. The people who chose to portray these characters or voice these characters, JB Smoove. This is who decided to voice JB Smoove. And from my understanding, I can't even remember his name. I think it's Reggie on the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Reggie Evans.
Reggie. He is the grandson of James Evans.
How's he James' grandson and not Florida's grandson? Well, he got to be both of them. They was just yeah.
And then this right here, this young lady right here, this is Marseille Martin. She was on Blackish. She was one of the twins. This right here is Yvette Nicole Brown, and I couldn't even tell you who this is. I don't even know. Yeah, I have no idea. This is JB Smoove, but this bewildered baby here is Anthony Slink Johnson. There were so many things that I took away from this that were just absolutely ridiculous. First and foremost, of one of them being when Reggie decided he was going to sing in the shower. And he was singing with the roach.
With a roach.
Like, help me. I can't even begin to understand what they were thinking when they decided this was a good idea. One of the things that I'm going to let you tell me what your top 10 things that you saw wrong with this reboot. One of the things that I heard or read was that Bernadette Stanis, she said that when she saw this, she was mortified because she said, oh God, what's his name? Jimmy Walker.
Yeah, Jimmy Walker
had actually pitched a show to them, a reboot show to them that was a cartoon, and they told them no. They basically shut it down. And then they came back later and said, oh, by the way, we are doing a reboot. So they were excited to see the reboot, but to see how far away it went from what it is, she was very graceful in her comment because she said, I can't really say that it's horrible because I don't know where they're going to take it. To me, she was just trying to be nice. She was trying to be gracious because she's understanding that these are actors and actresses who are trying to get a check. And because she doesn't know what was going to happen because she'd only seen the first episode. But yeah, it's just absolutely despicable to me. There's so many things wrong with this, but I imagine our top 10 or your top 10 are probably my top 10, if not very, very close. So I'm gonna let you get started with what your top 10 were.
Top 10. I mean, man, it's everything about that show was exactly what I thought it was going to be when I heard about it. And I'm apologizing in advance if I don't answer the question as far as giving you a top 10. Okay. I don't want to be like that guy who got a question and he said a whole lot of stuff and didn't answer. I know I'm not.
You're about to be that guy.
Yeah, I'm about to be that guy. But I do have a list of what was wrong with the reboot. I want to give a shout out to Malcolm because I didn't even know that gun thing was coming out, right? Until she had posted it and I was telling you about it. And I was reading the comments and I saw one of the comments when it said, this is one of the things that's wrong with it. It said 4th generations of the Evans family. I said, I said, fourth generation and they still stuck in Cabrini Bridge? That's a problem.
Right.
That's the problem. Because look, how long did we watch Good Times when it was airing? You see what I'm saying? We watched Good, and what was everybody's hope in watching Good Times? That they would leave the projects. It seemed like every time they had an opportunity to leave, something to happen. 9 times out of 10, it was Florida that kept them there. You know what I'm saying?
That's a whole show by itself.
Exactly. It was Florida that kept them there. But the point is that they were still there. So here we are 50 years later. You telling me that the Evans family is still in those projects. Another thing that was wrong with this reboot is the disrespect of the kids in the home. That baby, that youngest one, say, man, that boy's terrible.
Drug dealer. He's a baby.
He is a baby drug dealer. Another thing that's wrong with this reboot is that you can tell that pink people put it together. And again, they up in a room laughing, smoking on cigars, I bet you, drinking on scotch and thinking within themselves. This is the room that they're in, and thinking within themselves all of the stereotype black stuff that you can come up with. Yeah, we're going to throw this into this episode of Good Times.
Yep. I saw somewhere where it said it was a plethora of black-ish. That's
exactly what it was, man. You know, I get tired of, this is why I've never watched Power, right? I didn't watch Empire. I was not going to watch Snowfall until somebody told me that it was loosely based off of Freeway Ricky Ross, right? That was the only reason I watched Snowfall. The reason why is because I get tired of Hollywood depicting us in this light.
These are our stories. These are the stories that feel like they have to
This is on Netflix, which means that this is going to be seen in China. This is going to be seen in Europe. This is going to be seen all over the world. And you wonder why, when these people come over here to America, they deal with us the way that they do, because this is the type of stuff that they see about us.
Even Africans, though.
Even Africans. Yeah. This is what they see. And your reality is what you see, right? What's given to you. So you got a drug selling baby. You got a daddy singing to the roach in the shower.
Mm-hmm. Singing with a roach.
Singing with the roach in the shower. I mean, come on, man. Look, this is an issue that I have all the way around, Banath. How many Negroes gonna watch this and enjoy this and find humor in this? And this is so far from what Good Times really was supposed to be. Listen to the theme song in Good Times. Listen, the theme song in Good Times tell you what the theme of Good Times really was about. Even though they kept us in the ghetto, there was still correct family structure. You had a strong man, you had a woman that followed her husband, and they did what they could to keep their children in check.
Yeah.
Junior was not getting out of line with James.
Nope. And even they knew he was a frequent
finder,
5-finger discounter. They were not okay with it.
They was not okay. Exactly.
And I think one of the things that I recognize is they tried to mirror to some degree some of the more popular episodes. Just in the very first one, some of the more popular episodes that, you know, everybody, like, we call our classics. There were things that they tried to do to mirror that, but it was just so ghetto, so over the top and beyond ridiculous that I couldn't bring myself to even appreciate the homage to those older episodes, or the original episode, if you will, the Black Jesus episode, the episode where James had to go play pool to get money,
to get the rent paid.
To get the rent paid.
Right.
The episode where what was it? Where Florida was trying to dress up her house because she wanted to win that. Like, I couldn't bring myself to appreciate.
Did that not bother you on that first episode that the mother, who I don't even know what her name is, but that the mother was like, I gotta bring this in for the Evans family. I gotta bring this back for the Evans family.
I said I was gonna do this for the
I'm like, come on, you know what I'm saying? That to me, that's what's the word I'm looking for? That's insulting. Yeah. These are the projects, man, and like your goal is to win.
How low standard?
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, that's insulting, man.
It was, and I was very, very happy to see that more than half. I'm talking probably 95% of the comments or anything that I've seen as it relates to this show was everybody had the same kind of feedback. Right. I haven't really seen.
I wonder what the age demographics were.
That's a very good question, but I didn't look into that. I definitely can do that, and we can maybe bring it up in another show, because I'm curious to see if they actually end up pulling it because it doesn't get the reviews that they thought it was going to get. Even our 21-year-old was like, this is ridiculous.
Man, our kids grew up on Good Times. Yeah, though. I mean, we had our kids.
he couldn't even watch it. Like, he told me about it. I know you said Malcolm mentioned it to you, but he told me about it. And I was like, oh, for real? Like, I was genuinely excited. And then when I saw the preview for it, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah. Like, please tell me I'm misinterpreting what I'm seeing on the screen.
Now, Bernadette Thelma, she said something when you said that clicked on me, that because I'm that guy. I'm curious, right? And I never thought about where it's going to go. So now
it's on Netflix. You can go look at it right now.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Now I'm curious, because at first I wasn't going to watch nothing else, right? I'm curious to see where it's going to go. Is it going to get worse? Or are they going to make a turn? You see what I'm saying? Like, right. Yeah, she said a mouthful. And if she only said that just being nice, that's still a valid question. Like, how far can these white people go with this, sir?
But you know what my fear was?
In the garbage can.
Is if everybody has the same curiosity that you have,
the numbers going to go up.
The numbers are going to go up. So it's going to make
it'll make it stay.
Yeah, that's my thing is go watch the last episode.
Just skip the whole thing
and see where you land.
Right.
It's depressing.
It really is. It really is.
All right. I don't want to spend too much more time on that one. We need to try and wrap this thing up. So the last topic, and this is kind of our homage to our Beyond Critical Race Theory. Everybody knows that last Thursday, Orenthal James Simpson passed away at the age. He
had to be great with a name like Orenthal.
Right. At the age of 76. And what is telltale for me is every single thing that I heard the media put out about him, it all said the same thing. The murderer, the man who killed. It didn't tell you really anything about him as an individual. I read something to you earlier this week that stood out to me, that I thought was very apropos for who he was and where his life ended up. I'm not going to go read the entire thing. In fact, I'm not even going to read it at all. But when I was getting ready to pull up this information about OJ, most every single picture I went to pull up, the caption next to it said convicted or murderer who murdered his family or who murdered his wife. However you want to phrase it, they all had the same negative connotations, and all of the news outlets all pretty much said the same thing. Every single picture that I went to look at, it literally was hard for me to find pictures that didn't depict him either in court or when he actually went to jail for going to steal his own stuff back. Almost every single one of those pictures that were on there were all those type of pictures. This right here was very hard to come by. This is actually a pretty nice picture, OJ, but I had to dig for this one. I had to dig for this one. I had to dig for this one.
So you made that collage.
Yeah, I had to dig for all of these pictures of him because every single one of them, for the most part, had him either in court or in his jailhouse blues when he was in court for stealing his own stuff back. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that happened with OJ. He was one of the greats at what he did. He had a lot of endorsements back in the day. I think I read somewhere where he had an upwards of like 20 plus endorsements, which was unheard of for a black man at that time. And then they brought him here.
It's one of the reasons why his fall was so hard.
And then they let him. I mean, he fell hard.
Yeah, he fell hard. But I'm gonna tell you something. This is what I liked about OJ. OJ was poking at them white people the whole time he got up out of there, man. You think OJ didn't know what he was doing, man? All the little quirky sayings that he be having. And he wrote a book, What If I Did Do It? OJ was poking.
If I had done it,
if I had done it, this how I would have done it. Man, look, OJ essentially went out the way that he wanted to go out for real. I really do believe. Now, when I say that, I'm not going to say that he was happy. You know what I'm saying? With where his life had went, but he did not. You know that old commercial, never let them see you sweat. Man, OJ went out like a G.
Let me ask my question though. Let me finish. Let me ask my question. In death, why still so much hate?
Cause he black.
Okay.
Cause he black. And he didn't care about them pink folks, man. Look, OJ was like, y'all gave it to me, y'all took it from me, but that gummit, y'all is not gonna live my life for me, man. Hey, he had me convinced 2 or 3 times that he is Khloe Kardashian's daddy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because he would play those types of games. Look, this is the thing. I just got into an argument not long ago with a guy on social media because I was listening to Dan Patrick talk about OJ, and Dan knew him somewhat, and he had interviewed him a few times, and Dan was talking about how at awe he was at OJ at the prime of his career, right? Mm-hmm. I'm old enough to remember seeing OJ run through the airport on the commercials, Avis, that's right. I'm old enough to remember
was
that.
Avis or Hertz?
It was one of them.
Hertz.
Yeah, what I'm saying. But I'm old enough to remember OJ when he was still, OJ. He was a well-beloved guy in America. Probably had, at that particular time, probably had the same type of fame as a Michael Jordan do today. You know what I'm saying? Or, or Wilt Chamberlain or whatever, right? He had that type of love and that type of acceptance in America. But like you say, nobody talk about that. It's strange to me how these people continue to say that he is a murderer. And that's what they say. When they saw the same verdict that you and I saw, which was he was acquitted.
Not guilty.
If the glove don't fit, you must acquit. They saw that black man walk out of that courtroom the same way that we saw him walk out of that courtroom. So how is it that you are going to say that he is a murderer? It bothers me. I listen to Megyn Kelly talk about it. You know what I'm saying? She upset because she found an article that talked about him being a great football player instead of them calling him OJ the murderer, right? She's upset about that. I put a post on Facebook, and my post was, man, y'all didn't give Epstein this kind of hate when he died.
No, they did not.
You see what I'm saying?
They didn't even show hardly any pictures of him behind bars or going to jail or in court. They didn't really show you any of that kind of stuff with him. They always showed him either, out at some lavish event, at his parties, everything about him was, regardless of what he did, it was all positive images.
Exactly.
And I just pulled this up while you were talking just so you could see what I saw. I'm gonna close this one out so you can see. This is what I came across.
Right. Look at that. That's crazy.
Court.
You still demonizing this man even after his death, man. Exactly. This is how America wants you to remember OJ. This is what they want you to remember of OJ, man.
Yep.
And it's crazy. And like I say, y'all saw the same trial that we saw, what was the analogy that I gave you just a few minutes ago? And I'm a yield on this. Court is a game. It's a game. One of the reasons they call it court. Got tennis courts. You know what I'm saying? It's a game. And when you say that, look, I'm going to crank it up. In other words, I'm going to take it to trial. You know what you're doing? You're gambling. Yep. You're gambling on your life, right? So you got offense and you got defense. Am I correct? Look, OJ won. So when you say that he is a murderer, you a liar because OJ won. He walked out. You can't say that he is a murderer because your justice system that you are always telling us to believe in,
trust in,
your justice system acquitted the man. So now you can say that you feel like, I ain't got no problem with that. I feel like he did it. Okay, you can say, but don't say that he is a murderer. Right. OJ won. He gambled and he won.
Right.
At the end of the day, when the scoreboard, two teams are playing, the team that got the most points, what? They won the game. You can't say that they lost.
That is true.
Because you didn't want them to win. You know how many white people would love to say Iowa won, but they didn't. In history books, you know what it's going to say about that trial with OJ? He was acquitted.
Yep. Actually, because they write the history books, it might say the murderer was acquitted.
This is true, man. This is true. Yeah. Mr. OJ Simpson, that's a great way to end the show, man. This has been great. Mr. Ayo, we have missed you, brother. We will be back next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
We will be back next Wednesday.
And back on the clock.
And back on the clock, exactly. But not Shalahai. I want to thank you.
You are most welcome, sir.
I want to thank you. We got the F3 event that is coming up. Don't forget, Big Homie Yerk will be on the R&B hook with Ayo Ben Yahoo. But with that being said, I guess the last thing we got is our last song break. And with that, we are out of here. So peace, love, and hair grease.
One more quick reminder, tomorrow, don't forget to tune in at 8 o'clock Eastern time to Miss Mono, Why Boaz Don't Want Your Ass.
It's Thursday, right?
Oh, Thursday.
Yeah, it's Thursday.
This is going to air tomorrow.
Oh, my bad.
See, that's why we talk about y'all. Miss Mono on tomorrow, because this is going to air tomorrow on Thursday. Why Boaz Don't Want Your Ass? Tune in. She has some hot topics.
Facts, she does. That sister there, I call her Wendy Williams Jr. That Wendy Williams Jr.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, with that, in the words of what is it, Junie?
Twice out.
Blind.
See, I've been stargazing. Ain't nothing better than feeling your freedom. The freedom to live, be alive and deliver. Stay proud of yourself and how you express your freedom. Shake fear out of love.
Blind.
Let's try to paint a new picture. Cause ain't nothing better than feeling your freedom. The freedom to live, be alive and deliver. Yeah. Stay proud of yourself and how you express your freedom. Yeah. Shake fear out of love. Let's try to paint a new picture. Consider yourself my family. We gon' have to come together against the enemy. I got a method, first step, protect your energy. 2, understand agreements that you enter in. The moment that you stop letting it pass you, stop letting the current moment pass you, you start to grow, That's when you know, Ain't nothing better than feeling your freedom. The freedom to live, be alive and deliver. Stay proud of yourself and how you express your freedom. Shake fear out of love. Let's try to paint a new picture.
Cause ain't nothing better than feeling your freedom. The freedom to live, be alive and deliver. Stay proud of yourself and how you express your freedom. Shake fear out of love. Let's try to paint a new picture. Lately they suppressing how we feeling, so we painting on the street and on the buildings. CNN trying to make us more indifferent. Shit is different when you looking from a distance. I hate it when they talking like they in it trying to paint untrue pictures, or try to make you hate how you living. Blind. See, I've been sun gazing, and I've been praying on our change while I'm meditating. I know I'm only one man, but I'ma take my stand in the moment, yeah. Don't care who take they stand as opponent, yeah. See, I've been sun gazing, and I've been praying on our change while I'm meditating. They took our past trying to paint untrue pictures, trying to make you hate our existence. But ain't nothing better than feeling your freedom. The freedom to live, be alive and deliver. Stay proud of yourself and how you express your freedom. Shake fear out of love. Let's try to paint a new picture. Cause ain't nothing better than feeling your freedom. The freedom to live, be alive and deliver. Stay proud of yourself and how you express your freedom. Shake fear out of love. Let's try to paint a new picture. Yeah. Let's try to paint a new picture. Yeah. See, I've been sun gazing.